Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar launching Curedatis, state-of-the-art clinical evaluations with scientific evidence. We're very excited to have you join our webinar today. See, people are starting to join, so we'll give everyone another moment to get connected. If you want to, until people join the conversation, feel free to go ahead and grab yourself a drink, coffee, tea, depending on where you're at. If you're somewhere in Europe and it's a cold October afternoon. Welcome everyone. Also feel free to let us know where you're located in the chat. I guess we have a lot of people from different European countries joining today. Always exciting to have a global group. Awesome. So I think we're ready to officially get started. If you just joined, yet again, welcome to our webinar on launching Curedatis, state-of-the-art clinical evaluations with scientific evidence. The current clinical evaluations process can be slow, cumbersome, and often leaves decision makers feeling uncertain about the best course of action. This makes it difficult for decision makers to feel confident in their choices. That's why we're even more excited to share Curedatis with you today and show you how it can help you make better, faster, and more confident regulatory decisions. My name is Julia Heeson. I'm the Senior Growth Marketing Manager here at Research Solutions, and I will be moderating our conversation today. Joining me is the founder of Curedatis, Robert Ratloff. Robert studied technical biology in Germany and Australia with a focus on clinical pharmacology and bioinformatics. Robert has over a decade of experience in the pharmaceutical and medical device industry and has contributed to several publications in the clinical and regulatory research domain. As Director of Product Development at Research Solutions and founder of Curedatis, Robert is a strong supporter of the open innovation approach and curious about digitization and artificial intelligence solutions. Welcome to the webinar and the conversation, Robert. So before we dive into the conversation, a couple of housekeeping items here. We know how valuable your time is and really appreciate you spending this time with us. So we encourage you to share any questions that you have. So we want to make this as valuable as possible for you. Feel free to add them in the little Q&A feature that you'll see at the bottom of your Zoom screen as they come up, and we'll have dedicated time at the end of the conversation. Or if we see it fit, we'll just include them as we go in the conversation. But nevertheless, we'll get your questions answered. So a little overview of what we'll be covering today. We'll be starting with an introduction to Research Solutions. Then we will discuss the rising complexity of information regulations. From there, we'll take you through a live demonstration so you can see Curedatis, our review engine, in action. And then in the end, as I mentioned, we'll open up the floor for questions. So a little overview about Research Solutions. I assume some of you are already familiar with Research Solutions, or actually already customers of Article Galaxy references. But in case you're not familiar, little overview. So Research Solutions was founded in 2006 and provides solutions that simplify and streamline how organizations discover, acquire, and manage scientific articles and data. We're a pioneer in providing seamless access to scientific content and knowledge management, saving time and money, and accelerating your research. Currently, more than 70% of the world's top pharmaceutical companies, prestigious universities, emerging life science firms, and other R&D-driven companies rely on us for one-click access to scientific literature that gets delivered within seconds right into the user's inbox. And now we're very excited about launching our newest product, Curedatis, to the Research Solutions product family. So now, with further ado, let's get started with the conversation, handing it over to you, Robert.
So hello, everybody. Welcome from today, sunny Germany. Thanks, Julia, for the nice introduction. So I would like to start our webinar with a nice overview of the exponential growth of scientific information. So that is what I pulled out yesterday from PubMed. I was really surprised for some of those publication graphs. So what you see is that if you have a search term like cancer, so you will see almost 5 million results for cancer. And you see this, I think it's more impressive if you see the growth curve of scientific information. So the journals which are found in PubMed. So this is only one of many peer-reviewed databases for publications. But so what is very impressive is also the COVID publications. You see that in just 3 years, almost 3 years. So we had 300,000 results. So this is even more than malaria over maybe after the Second World War. I think the publication growth started. So, but this is impressive, yeah. So just in 2 or 2.5 years, the scientific community published 300,000 publications on COVID. So that is what I would like to take out of this. And this is one of the challenges we face today in regulatory science, medical writing, scientific writing, but also for the R&D departments. We have sometimes too much information, yeah, to digest. So, and I think that is one of the first pain points for scientists and regulatory affairs, so that we, need to find the needle in the haystacks. But yeah, this is just one challenge. I would not call it a problem because it's nice to have a lot of information, but on the other side, it can also be very cumbersome and overwhelming if you have too many information. So the next one for the maybe more to the regulatory complexity. So we have an exponential growth of regulatory guidances. I would say I'm not sure if an exponential growth of regulatory complexity, if this makes sense at all. So we have a really a burden for regulatory affairs today, at least in the MedTech industry, because some of you might be aware that we changed in Europe from the Medical Device Directive to the Medical Device Regulation, so MDD, to the MDR. This is now in compliance since May 2021. And you see this page number I highlighted. So we had back in times for the MDD, 43 pages of a document, a directive document. And this changed to 175 pages for the MDR. But this is not enough. So we have now, I think each month there are maybe 1 or 2 new guidance documents are coming out to tell the regulatory affairs how they should read the MDR, the Medical Device Regulation. So I think it's now summing up to about 1,000 pages. So I did not count them at all, but I just estimated this number. But yeah, so this is really something today you need more, I think, not a scientific background. If you are working in a medical device environment, you more need a law degree, yeah? So out there, because there's a lot of regulations, and a scientist is not trained on making law judgments. But anyway, so we have this rising complexity. So that is the point 1, if you see that on the left-hand side. So the rising complexity of regulatory approval process. And the second one is also is very counteractive then. So we have a lack of regulatory and medical experts out there who want to go into this direction or trained on that, because maybe some people want to go into the regulatory affairs department, but they need also to be trained on that. So, and you might imagine that it's not easy to get just in the world of medical device, because it's very special and no one learned that in the university. So the third part is we have also a shortage of notified bodies in Europe. So that is, I think, everyone is well aware in this domain that we have this, is also, decreasing the speed of not the regulation, but so now I missed my point, the shortage of notified bodies. So there will not be so many medical devices put on the market, because they need also to be evaluated under the MDR and put in the market. So this is one for Europe, but also a shortage in a competent authority, a capacity like the FDA or BfArM in Germany. So that is also another pain point for the industry. And this, I think, put the medical device innovations at risk, because I heard from some manufacturers in this industry that they need to reallocate personnel from the research and development department to the regulatory affairs department, so they can help to write documents. But actually. So people in the R&D should not writing documents, so they should innovate. So that's why I think that's also decreasing the speed of innovation of information. All right. Yeah, so at least from my point of view, these are the main pain points, which I realized when I was working in a medical device contract research organization, writing medical reports or clinical evaluation reports, and also doing clinical studies, so writing clinical study protocols. So some of the tasks were very repetitive, and so that is the pain point one I felt. And then the pain point two was sometimes I needed to wait for information. So there was like a publication delivery taking 5 days via postal service, but I could also nothing to do because I could not write them up in a report because I need to wait for those articles. And the pain point three, at least for me, was I needed to manually document all the stuff which I did. So when I was searching something in PubMed or in Embase, and this took a lot of time because, and this is also error-prone process if you copy and paste something from one source to another source like Excel or a spreadsheet. So this was the third pain point for me. But I would like to ask also the audience what they feel. What are the major pain points for the knowledge workers? So it's not only about medical devices, it's also for scientific writing and medical writing. So what are your major pain points in this area of scientific writing, I would call this? If we can pull up the poll. Here we go. So what is the currently the biggest pain point when doing literature reviews? So is it repetitive tasks, sourcing information, manual documentation, and if you have something else, then please let us know in the chat or. So do we have something? Maybe we can moderate this because I do not see the results. So that would be nice if we can see if we have 50% have voted or 80 or 90. Are we done?
Yeah, I guess right now everybody should have already voted. So yeah, Gabi, let's see the results. Thanks.
Oh, that's totally different from yesterday. No, totally, but it's different a little bit. Yeah. So today we have 14% are voting for the repetitive tasks. So maybe that is something, not this pain point for at least this audience. So sourcing of information. So this might be all Article Galaxy customers, because they have no pain points here because they have Article Galaxy. And then we have manual documentation. I think that is something I learned also really hard, that this is I think in each single industry is a pain point. And the other ones, did somebody write in the chat something, or is it just others? They do not want.
Yeah, we received one person saying literature review, it's loads of unnecessary writing. So
can you say that again? So I did not.
Yeah, it says literature review, it's loads of unnecessary writing.
Okay, yeah.
Lots of, yeah.
That's good, yeah. So good. Yeah, I think we need to speak then, yeah, because that is also what I felt back in time when I was writing up reports, because I felt that when you are doing literature reviews, that you just pull out the paper, so these so the articles about the medical device or the state of the art, and then you're writing them up again. So in a short summary, like you take the abstract, but then you rewrite them. And if you are not a native speaker like me, so it's really hard to someone to rewrite something because it's already written in a very well peer-reviewed journal. So why we should make this writing up again? So that's why I feel also we need more structured output out of the publication and not doing it again and again. So there's no, I think, need and innovation out of that purpose. But yeah, so let's move on. Do you have any other questions? So then I could stop also some things because we have a lot of time today.
Yeah, no questions so far. But yeah, as another reminder, if any questions come up, feel free to go ahead and add them either in the chat or in the Q&A feature.
Yeah. All right. So let us see how we can cure those pain points at least. So I'm not sure about the unnecessary writing. So that is maybe we need to ask the regulators. So how can we stop that time-consuming task or make that even structured? But anyways, we can do something with hopefully Curedatis or other tools out there. So this is me. So in my former life, I was a medical writer, as I said, in the research, in a contract research organization or clinical research organization, specialized on medical devices. And I was a happy Article Galaxy user. So that was solving my first pain point, the pain point 2, because then I did not need to wait long hours for receiving my publications. So I can easily write them up and just order them on the go. So, and I was conducting this clinical evaluation report, so a kind of systematic reviews for the industry. And yeah, all those steps for me in this medical writing and clinical evaluation writing felt really manual. So at first, there's a big learning curve when you're coming out from a different industry. So I was in the pharmaceutical industry where I did not write any clinical evaluation report at this time. But so there's a steep learning curve, but this takes also time and practice in this field. So that's why I think a system could help. And the workflow from search to data extraction was dispersed among several tools. So you need to copy paste something from here to there. And so we are all humans. So maybe you make a 1% an error. So, and if this is then audited, so you feel something like, yeah, oh, I did not see that, or so nobody's perfect. But I think in this specific field, machines can help. So software tools. So yeah, that is where the idea of Curedatis was born. So I felt that we can make this process a little bit more workflow driven and streamlined, and also get something beyond text highlighters and folders and Word and Excel, and paying the publication by credit cards, or why do we not want to bulk source them from one single source? But yeah, so that the idea was born, and then the MDR kicked in. So that's why I think there's now a need for streamlined tools like Curedatis. So yeah, so the idea was born then 2 or 3 years ago. So I was dreaming of a faster screening software tool. This should be more precise in the evaluation of scientific and clinical content, and also intelligent reporting. So this is what I would like to show you in a minute in our Curedatis demo. What's that? The intelligent reporting. But for now, I need to mute my mobile. I should have done this before. Maybe next time we need to remind the speakers so that we should unmute our mobile. All right. But yeah, so the next one then was how can we cure the pain point 1, 2, 3. So I think the pain point 1 was about repetitive tasks. So I think 14% mentioned that was a pain point for them. So I think we can do that by digitizing or digitalizing and automate workflows if we can. So that could be done by software tools like, so that is the best use case of software and machines. And the pain point 2 was the sourcing of information in one single platform. But we should also keep in mind that we have multiple sources out there. So we need multiple interfaces like or APIs in the end. And the pain point 3 is the manual documentation. So I think the buzzword here is an audit trail. So everything what is done in the systematic review should be documented somewhere, so that an auditor from the notified body or from the competent authority can come over and review your systematic review or clinical evaluation report process. And you can tell them, oh, that is what I searched, that is what I included, excluded, and why did I include, excluded this? And this is done in an automatic manner, so you do not need to copy paste and want to manipulate something. So this is really hopefully audit compliant, and you are audit ready all the time. But yeah, this is about then smart reports and audit trails, which are built in tools like Curedatis. All right. Any questions so far? I think today I missed this question. Are there any questions out there? So.
Yeah, we just received one. The question is, how do Article Galaxy and Curedatis connect? So I assume this comes from an Article Galaxy user or customer.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we have next slide would be the workflow. So that is a perfect fit. Yeah, so that is something which I would like to explain here, if this is allowed. So first of all, so when you look on this a little bit busy slide, that we have a circular workflow. So that is we are creating a project in the end on the top, and then the first step in a systematic review or literature review is to search and import results. So that is our input, and we can take them from a diverse set of information sources like Article Galaxy. So that's the first one I mentioned, Article Galaxy here. So we can search inside Article Galaxy, but also Curedatis has a search interface for PubMed. But then you can also add references from your existing projects, like if you use Citavi or EndNote, which you see here, or also from Cochrane library, if you can use the RIS file format to import that into Curedatis, and Google Scholar, PubMed, and in the end Embase. All I think, yeah, you need a standard format like RIS file, so that would be handleable in Curedatis. And then the second step is the abstract screening, which you will see in a minute in a demo. And after that, you have the full text screening. And here again, we connect with Article Galaxy that you can bulk order articles which you need to where you need the full text screening and appraise the full text. The next one is then writing up the summaries, getting out the condensed reports like a screening documentation. So what have you decided in the abstract screening phase, and why did you exclude articles? So this is all then in the screening documentation, and most of you, I think, are well aware of this Prisma flow chart, which usually gets into a systematic review or meta-analysis out there, and also clinical evaluation report are most of the time are doing this Prisma flow diagram, which I show you also in Curedatis later. And then we have a critical appraisal. So for clinical evaluation report, we have the suitability of data or the evidence level of a full text, which you would need to appraise critically. But for systematic reviews, also maybe the risk of bias introduced in the publication. And that is, I think, a unique point for Curedatis. So we have a PICO recommendation tool built in, which is supported via AI, so artificial intelligence. So this will automatically recommend you which PICO terms are in the abstracts, and then we get this as a structured output also in this summary report. And in the end, so that's the last interface with Article Galaxy. So we have also built in reference management system for Article Galaxy, so that here we will also heavily interact with each other. So the user should feel that they are in the same product in the end for Curedatis and Article Galaxy references. This is our goal for from the usability standpoint. And so to close the circle of systematic reviews, we have then update functionality. Right now, this will then feed in new input data from, right now it's PubMed, so we connected with PubMed. So each day at 7 o'clock German time, we will get a new publication if a hit is found in PubMed for now. But yeah, we would like to also broaden this spectrum of other databases for scientific literature in the end. Any questions so far? I hope I could answer this Article Galaxy interaction question.
Yeah, perfect. And if there's any follow-up questions, to the audience, feel free to, just like add them in the Q&A and we can follow up there as well. No new questions at this point, Robert.
All right, so then. All right, so now it's time for the live demo. I would like to use the Apple ECG app for ECG recording. So this is, I think, what I discovered is really nice, because they built in ECG functionality. So that is not a product placement here. So do not get me wrong. I have a Garmin watch, so I'm more the Microsoft user in the end. But I think that's a nice tool what Apple built, and yeah, I think it's also a good use case for a medical device. So software as a medical device is because the watch is not a medical device, but the app, the software is a medical device. I think that's also for some out there, for someone out there new. But yeah, so this will be our demo project today. And I pulled out the FDA clearance of or the de novo classification for the Apple ECG app. And I think here for the first time, I would like to introduce the PICO terms, because if someone does not know out there what a PICO is, then they will feel like, oh, what the hell Robert is talking about. So this is about the P is the population. So in the medical area, also in a scientific area, we use this a PICO process for structuring a problem and also to getting the structure inside our research. So the P would be the population. In this case, it's these are patients with, or at least for the ECG app, it's these are customers. These are atrial fibrillation, so that is a disease, cardiology disease, and what we also see in this classification for the ECG app, this is not intended for the use by people under 22 years. So population, that is sometimes most often the disease which is detected from Curedatis, or the age, or how many patients have been evaluated in a clinical trial or research. And the second one is then the intervention. So typically this is yeah, the problem-solving intervention. So how did we diagnose the disease, or how did we cure a disease? In this request here, that is obvious. So that is the Apple Watch, yeah. So and the ECG app in connection. So because you cannot use the app if you have no Apple Watch. So that's why it's in conjunction of both together. And the comparison is a single lead ECG out there. So that is the comparison. So most of the time, maybe if you make a pharmacology example, so you have aspirin as an intervention, and the comparison is paracetamol, which you then try to cure your headache or something like this. And then the last point, the O, is the outcome. So in this de novo classification, we have no outcome, but a typical outcome is something you would like to measure in your study. So for our headache example, it would be the relief of the headache. Yeah. So how much time that needs to solve this yeah, painful headache. So that would be a measurable outcome. So all right. So I think then we can go directly into the live demo. Are there any questions? So I need 1 second to.
Yeah, there's one question. You currently, or just like a minute ago, you mentioned the PICO term. So the question is, will Curedatis support other AI recommendations other than the PICO terms?
Yes, we would like. Yeah, so, but we would love to hear from the customer what they would like to automatically see in the abstracts or in the full text later. So that's why right now we have this basic concept of PICO, which is in the scientific community broadly accepted, and this is also helping to structure your decision of if the abstract is relevant or not. But we would like to also train the system on other yeah, labels. No? So we would like, but then we need annotations from the customer or with the customer. And so that's why we are in a constant exchange with the customer, what they would like to see, because if they do not want that, so then we do not build that. So that is something I learned from the UX. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that question. And great questions coming from the audience.
All right. So here we go. So right now we are in the we are starting the live demo of Curedatis. Right now we are in the my library, in the library of projects. So and we would like to create, or I would like to create a new project today. Can simply click on the button. So right now we are in the project setup phase. I think, not sure if I pasted that. Yeah, we take today is the 26th of October, and we create this project. And then you will see the first step is in setting up a project. You have the predefined Pico labels here. And you can also upload a dictionary. So right now, I told you before, so that the Pico terms are AI driven. So they will recommended by an artificial intelligence, a natural language processing algorithm is behind that. But you can also upload your own dictionaries and vocabularies if you have something or you would like to build something in the future, because you can really shape your system in your direction, and with each project, this will get smarter, the system. So that's why I think it's really recommended also to build your own dictionaries. And now maybe you're asking, what is a dictionary in this case? So I think you know what a dictionary is. So this translates from one language to another. But I show you that it's really a simple file of just text. Yeah? It's a text file, and you can put in each line a new text. And in this case, I used a study design template, which I got from a medical ontology out there. And so this is a thesaurus of medical information for study design. So I just copy pasted that into a text file. And now we can also add our own label. In this case, we would like to show the study design later. Study design, and that's correct. And then you can upload your dictionary. If I have that somewhere here. Yeah, if I could find that easily, and that would be nice. But in our project, which we now get in a minute, so I did upload that again. So, but this is the same file. Okay, and then you can also add other labels, and you do not need to upload a dictionary, but in the end, you can. So, and then we have tags also supported. So you have maybe something like, so we predefined the state of the art, performance and safety, which is a typical tag in medical devices for the clinical evaluation. But you can also make something like a complication you would like to review later to tag, or so that's something for marketing department. You would like to highlight a claim inside a publication, which can be used from the product management later. And we have also another term like the exclusion criteria. If you have publication which you would like to exclude in the end from the abstract or full text screening, you need to provide a reason if this is in your process. So right now, I think no abstract is most often an exclusion criteria in the abstract screening process, because you have no abstract. And maybe what do we have here? You can use some of this. They are the wrong patient population. All right, good. And then we complete. And then we can enter to the search. So that would be the next one. But yeah, for this, we would like to go to our pre-existing project, because we do not want to do a 200 publication clinical evaluation report today in 15 minutes. So I pre-populated something for you. So you see an overview. We imported already 217 references in this project, and we found 29 duplicates. But I would like to go into this. Yeah, so now we are on the search phase, which we left in the other project. So right now you can really search like in PubMed. So that is our direct interface with PubMed. So we are in these Apple and ECG. So that is what I already searched inside this project to annotate something. And the last 5 years, maybe that's the filter. So you can also filter stuff. And then select them all and check the import if they are all good. And you see, so that is what already is incorporated in this project. But today I would also like to search for maybe, so that is my reminder of my Garmin watch here. If they have something similar to Apple, Garmin and ECG can search, which is not there already. So select all again and check the import. Maybe some are duplicates, yeah. But we have new results, so 5 valid new publications for this. So let's incorporate them as well. But you see, so for Garmin we found 15 results, and for Apple 105. So that is really also something of interest. So that is Okay. Then you see that what we did already in the import history. So that is what we did yesterday. So we imported smartwatch and ECG from PubMed and Apple and ECG or electrocardiogram. And today we imported Garmin and the ECG. And you see that we found some duplicates. So we can also see which duplicates were detected here. So these are the duplicate references. So they might be in the smartwatch and ECG query. Yeah? So that's also what we can look up later. And we have also this last point of the circle. If you remember this, we have a search alert. So you can easily create new search alerts. If I now, so today we made this video from Garmin, so then you can create the alert for this. You would be reminded each day if there's a new hit found in PubMed, or you can also deactivate if you're not interested anymore. But yeah, so this will then you alert into Curedatis. All right, and as I said, we have also the RIS file platform agnostic file import, so that you can also use your Citavi files or your EndNote reference library and import that into Curedatis, and also provide a search history here, import history file, so which will then also be incorporated in the import history. But I think for now we have enough abstracts to screen, so we will just, so that is what I pre-populated. So we will start here today. You will see, so that is as well. So for the first time, you will see the eye working. If he or she is awake. So yeah, so that is our first glance of the PICO results. So we have underlined as a recommendation. So what you see here, everything which is underlined is picked up by the AI or by our study. I think, yeah, no, here are no study design claims, but anyway, so we have here the AI. So that is a watch is maybe the intervention in this case. So that's correct, but we can also override that and pick that as an intervention here. So that is now confirmed by a human. So the system that is, I would like to make sure that everyone understands that. So the system is just recommending something. It's not deciding anything from the human. So that is also a question which we got from notified bodies. What is the system doing automatically? What is then, where's the human interaction needed? So that is something we also explain in detail then when we set up the system for the customer and in case of audits. So we are happy to provide information on that, or even before, yeah, because that is in the end what we would like to do with our customers. And then you see that we have the population here. So I close that one. So the picos, and here the heart rate is measured. So that are the outcomes. But I do not want to click every single result, and you see the number of patients in this trial. So I can easily just confirm all annotation. That's good, because the annotations later on will go into the synthesis for the structured output. And so we include that study, and we check another one. Then we move on to the next one, to the full text screening. Here you see, oh, there's also Samsung Galaxy Watch. So this might be also having ECG. So that we also include that. And you can also make notes if this is something like, is it, it's also performance maybe, and we have hopefully a claim inside. So we can also check that and get that to maybe a comment is please check for safety event, something like this. Yeah. So we will can you write your own comments, which are then also structured in the output in the end. So we include this as well. And maybe we exclude something. So this is just a feasibility study. We do not want that. Yeah, so do we have no abstract off-label case report? So we had something like here. So a feasibility study, maybe that's the new exclusion criteria, which we did not predefine. You might also predefine everything. So also not happening. There we go. Add that, and then select it as a reason, and then exclude this one, and move on to the next one. So this is even better. So I take this one as well. So exclude because there's no abstract. All right, but now we have abstract screen at least some, and we had a bunch of abstract screens before. So we will move to the next stage, that is full text screening. Maybe there are some questions out there because that is a new concept of this PICO recommendation. So I think you asked this question before, if we move beyond this PICO scheme or a PICO process, and you see you can also do that with your dictionary. So that is, I think I did not mention that before. You can also have your human intelligence inside the dictionary. So that is also what I would like to tell here. But do we have any questions so far in this process?
Yeah, a couple that actually came in. So the first one is, other than PubMed, how do you choose to go to library and search?
How do you go to library and search?
Yeah, like other than PubMed, is there like another option? I think that's a question.
So that would be, so we incorporate that via RIS files. So what can be easily achieved is that if you have Embase, like a second database for literature retrieval, so then you can export a RIS file and then upload that into Curedatis. But as I said, we would like to advance this integrated search from PubMed also to other databases in the end, if they have an interface. So that is would be the next step, which is highly recommended, because at least for the clinical evaluation in Europe, you need a second database for literature review. And some of customers are using Google Scholar because this find a lot of product names other than in the PubMed search. But yeah, so this will, I think, hopefully I got the answer, the question right. So that's, but yeah, so you can get this via RIS file inside Curedatis.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for answering that, Robert. Another question that came in is there a limitation of the type files used as source to perform the analysis? For example, if I have patents, material, or some other database which might not be an article, could this be included?
Yes. So I think that's a nice question also from the, so right now I would say no, it's not. I think we can manipulate a RIS file because that is an easy file which you can just shape in your direction. So there are tools out there where you can incorporate anything in the RIS file. But yeah, so that is what I would also like to see if this is not in a standard format. So then we would like to get this also into Curedatis. But this is, I think, also a challenge for tools like EndNote and Citavi and Article Galaxy references. But they can also smart digest PDF, so they wouldn't like, so they know which title that is, and so there are a lot of opportunities out there. So as a company, we would like to see what the specification from the customer is, and then we can build, then we can discuss how we can incorporate that right now, or maybe in the near future into Curedatis. So that is what I would like to hear from this special customer then in the end. So if he or she can contact us with this special requirement, I would like to build something on that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for the answer, and thank you for the question. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us so we can work with you on that.
All right. Should I move on, or anything else? Because I think that's a little bit more.
Yeah, there's one more question. So I'll read it out to you, and you can decide if you want to answer directly or push it to later. So the question is, does the MedTech regulation allow automated reporting for clinical reviews like the clinical evaluation?
That does. So that's a question, yeah. So
yeah.
Or is it a statement? Okay.
Yeah,
I would say so it's not an automated reporting, because you see that so at first I do not know if this is right now in the regulation, so I need to read that also up, or maybe we get a hint from the customer. But for Curedatis, it's like, so in the end the user is in the driver's seat, so who can also make a decision here, because you can also turn the filter view off. And Curedatis is not deciding if you include or exclude something right now, but we would also like to learn from the customer if they would like that. Yeah. So because someone out there fears that AI is taking over their job in the near future, but I think the artificial intelligence, at least in Curedatis, should support the medical writer. But so that's why it's like a workflow which can be automated in the end. So that is, I think, the first step which we would like to achieve. So you are ready for the future, then I would say. But I think we have, we need some pragmatic solution for accelerating this very manual process. So that's why I think here we are just at the start, and we can easily automate it with the digitization of this workflow. So that's why that's the first step into this direction. But anyway, so right now, the human is really the driver's seat, and that is where we build our system right now. So we do not take so the Curedatis not take over the systematic review at the moment. So no, I see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Move forward.
All right. Good. So we have been to the abstract screening. I have a look on the time, so I think we can finish that in 7 minutes. Right now we are on the full text screen. I would like to show you where Article Galaxy now interact with Curedatis. So this is what we ordered already. So there are some publications out there already. So we can, I think we call them. Hopefully they are open access or even sourced in our library. We order them. Yeah, so we have at least some subscriptions. So I would like to avoid this one in the demo and just place the order. At least we have one from the library. It should be immediately there. All right, this one is, I think, the new one, the clinical guide to smartwatch integration. So we interrogation. All right, so we can start our screening then. So we have a built-in PDF review tool. So you will see the PDF inside Curedatis, and you can make notes here. So like the text and comments, which I have showed you before, and then the annotation. We have this zoom in that you can see anything too much. We can also annotate something inside Curedatis. So where it is involving data. Maybe that's fine. So this is a statement. Maybe that's yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but so we can also annotate something here, like we get a new label, like innovation, our label here. So we build a new label in the abstract, and so then the reviewer is doing what they do. So they look for benefit and risk in the full text, and for any off-label use, or maybe a product manager would look like for, oh, that is Samsung is also in this publication. So let's get a new a label here, like competition. So that's one. Safe, and also Fitbit, another competitor of us. I'd like to get that into the competition output, and so on and so forth. So this is really in the end this one platform idea. So we have not a PDF Adobe Acrobat reader so out there, because we can do all this stuff inside Curedatis. Also make comments for a colleague inside this PDF annotation tool, like at pharmacovigilance or beyond device. So maybe I'm not sure if this is DVG then, device vigilance, or in the vigilance area. Delete that. Yeah, and we can also tag maybe something like the first author. It's there here, so that's from the US. That's good. So, all right, so we can also have then the country as the label. All right, but so you see, you can also annotate anything here, so but you can do what you want in the full text. This is very diverse use case in the full text, and we also want to listen to other customers if what they would like to see here from us. So that's why input is really highly appreciated at this stage as well. So then we include that, and we would like to critically appraise that publication. So that is, we pulled out something from the medical device area, so the IMDRF appraisal template, where you need to appraise study data for suitability. So where was the data generated? So this is a nice publication. It's just a demo here. That was the same use for the intended use, and something like this. So we just click some that we have some data out there. We did not see any statistical analysis, so that was not good, and there was not clinical significance, and this was, I'm not sure, but just level 3 evidence, and it was a medium overall weighting, so that we have something in the appraisal table in the end. All right, so then we have we move on to the next one, because that is what usually is the use case then for clinical writing or clinical evaluation reports. You need to look for the general safety and performance requirements in the full text, and need to screen them. But yeah, that is what we do not want to do today. We move on to the next part. Are there any questions for the full text screening before I move on?
No specific questions here. Thanks.
Good. Then we move to the latest part. So we have then the overview of articles which have been in the abstract screening, so which we imported. And we can also see from here, yeah, maybe what was the journal, so and maybe the abstract screening state. So did we include or exclude the publication? So that is about the audit trail. What is the full text screening state? So did we include or exclude the full text here? And did we see or did we annotate something so that we can easily write up our report data? So right now you will see that we have the population, intervention, and outcome here, and maybe the comparison to make that eco-like. And yeah, the study design, which we have taken from our dictionary, which we built before the project. And we also manually annotated something like the country, if you saw that. So and the claim for the marketing guys, and also if it was something like the labels I did in this demo, like the innovation and competition. So that is what you can then export into a CSV or copy paste that into your, maybe integrate that in your report, wherever you want to write that. Or all right, then I mentioned this Prisma flowchart before, which is typically a part of the clinical evaluation report or of each systematic review. So we have the identification, what we incorporated in our review, where we did find something, how many publications we found and imported, and how many duplicates were removed automatically, and then how many abstracts were screened, and we screened 28 and excluded 4, and how many full text we have screened. In this demo we screened 4 publications, full text, and how many were excluded and the reason of exclusion. So this was off-label use, and we included this amount of publications, and in the end we appraised also 3 of them. So the appraisal table, which I briefly mentioned before and showed you, the table of the IMDRF, is then here. So you can also get this as a structured output from Curedatis in the end, which you can also incorporate in your clinical evaluation report or systematic review. I think this is now exactly after 7 minutes all of the demo, which I would like to show you, but we are now open for questions. If any questions are in the chat or in the FN.
Yeah, so no additional questions came up. So if anybody has a question, this is the perfect time. Add them in the chat, add them in the Q&A. We'd love to get them answered. In the meanwhile, yeah, let's get back to the slides here. So what are next steps? If this sounded amazing to you, you would want to learn more about Curedatis. Maybe you're an Article Galaxy user, or you want to connect on that. So if you have an account manager, feel free to reach out to them directly to learn more about Curedatis. Otherwise, I'll add the link in the chat right now, and it's written here as well. Head over to our Curedatis product page. You'll find some more information. You can also reach out directly there to ask for another demo. If you have additional questions, or maybe you would want someone else from your team to take a look at Curedatis as well, you can do that here. You can also reach out via email. So you receive the confirmation emails for the webinars. There's actually a human face behind that email. So feel free to, just like reach out via that email to us, and we'll connect you to the best person as well. So you can reach out really wherever you feel it's easiest for you. So yeah, no additional questions came up. So I think, yeah, we're ready to wrap this up here. Thank you so much, Robert, for the demonstration and sharing Curedatis with everyone here today, and for building such an amazing product. And thank you to the audience for joining, spending this time with us. If any additional questions come up, as I mentioned, feel free to reach out your preferred channel at any time. And oh, there you go. Oh no, saw that wrong. Yeah, have a great rest of your afternoon or rest of your day, depending on where you're located, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye-bye, everyone.